Hello and welcome to the June 2022 edition of the PreSale Pulse, a channel that is dedicated to helping you understand everything happening in real estate across Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley. I'm Ryan Lalonde.
And I'm Brittany Reimer.
And if you're new to the channel, this edition of the PreSale Pulse is all about recapping about the presale and the resale marketplace over the past 30 days in the Fraser Valley. Now our goal is to ensure all of our subscribers feel like they have their fingers on the pulse and becoming real estate intelligent. Now Brittany, we've been peddling the Fraser Valley on this show for the last 24 months.
We have.
It might even be longer.
Probably.
So Brittany, is it possible that we have started to see the market drivers of the last 2 years running its course? COVID, the rush to affordability, obviously the burgeoning communities, and all pulling younger demographics in search of more, always in search of more, away from urban. Has the Fraser Valley had its cup of coffee in the big time? Now, while the headlines are painting one picture, we think something very different. We're going to answer that question today in this version of the PreSale Pulse.
We know there was a massive tidal wave of buyer demand that drove up the market demand over the last 24 months. Really, this tidal wave is something we'd never seen before, let alone in the real estate industry, let alone Fraser Valley. So as we would expect any tidal wave to do, it's receding. Interest rate hikes playing a role in that, but also more available inventory and value of offering on both the presale and resale side, and Metro Vancouver contributing to this shift in the valley that we're starting to see.
So Britt, let's start with the presale marketplace. Tell us what's happening out there.
Well, last month we mentioned that we were watching closely the launch of Silva by Watson in Delta. It seems we were very, very right to be interested in this program, as Silva sold out with 100 units in its first building within the first month of sales. Now, Silva will release another 78 homes in its second building and expects to sell out in similar fashion. Now, at a time when a lot of developers in other markets are upping incentives to a flattening market, it seemed the demand in Surrey Delta market remained extremely strong for the month of May. I guess no surprise when you're trending under $800 a square foot. Really not very many markets right now where you can find that type of value.
So strong appreciating price points have been a major attractor to this market. Now over the past 12 months, we have not seen inventory drip into the market. Instead, inventory surges, sellouts, and the market builds. Investors scramble for the next launch. Now, sense of urgency appears to be just as much as a driver of affordability as price, and we are witnessing that shift quickly today. I'm not sure that selling out in a 2 to 4 month time frame, as Sylvia did, would be possible in any other marketplace right now.
Yeah, and you're completely right, Ryan. Keep in mind, though, Newton is definitely a unique market. There are a lot of end users who live in that community that will continue to drive strong sales specifically to that little pocket. Now, Silva isn't the only wood frame development that we've had our eyes on. In a similar fashion, we'll be watching closely for the sales campaigns of Hartley by Port Homes in Surrey and Park and Maven by JM Properties in Langley. Now, both of these are wood frame projects. They're emphasizing their proximity to the current and future SkyTrain access. So they should. And it seems that appetite from investors for product near the transportation line and that hub is very much still strong and in demand. Now, we expect these projects to see a really strong outcome. Not as strong as early 2022, but of course steady.
And this is very different than what's happening in Metro Vancouver, right? In so many neighborhoods of Metro Vancouver, we're seeing sales absorptions, same month, right? So inventory that's being released and selling in the same 30 days dropping dramatically. Those significant shifts are a function of interest rates and demand with negative headlines that are falling. Although ultimately we are incredibly still optimistic about what this means for the market long term, there does appear to be some headwinds in larger format offerings.
Absolutely. And we're going to chat a little bit more about the resale segment later on in the episode, but we're certainly seeing a very similar trend here in the Fraser Valley. Single family rare offerings still performing quite strong, but that townhouse market very saturated with the condos still stable and steady. But I expect as we head into the summertime months here, we will see a bit of a price depreciation.
Walker House by BMG Real Estate. Now this is an interesting development, and it's rare to see high-rise development in Delta. The developer, BMG, is also primarily known for WFLR. That's MLA advisory slang for wood frame low rise. This is a significant leap forward for them. And we're going to be cheering them on from the sidelines to see just what they're able to bring into this project.
Yeah, and I mean, Walker House will also have a very strong amenity offering, something that we're seeing a lot in the city of Surrey, with a 2,300 square foot daycare, 3,000 square feet of restaurant and retail space, and an outdoor basketball court. Now, residents will also be able to connect to the SkyTrain via the frequent transit network and new rapid bus that will launch in the fall of 2023.
Now, this project is dropping 264 units into Delta. Previews kick off on June 5th. Now, in the past, our advisory efforts would center around price point offerings and incentives, but with a more traditional demand curve fueled by rising interest rates, we're going to be paying really close attention to launch pace and product absorption.
Absolutely. And traditionally around this, along the Scott Road corridor, we see wood frame products. So this is a really unique offering to see concrete in market. We believe that they're going to be trending mid-thousands for price per square foot. Now that is quite a number for that Delta market and something we'll be closely watching. So coming to you from Surrey City Centre, Piano is next on our list of featured projects that we want to highlight today. This is the first Concord development in Surrey since Park George launched in 2018. With it comes many of the design trends that they've been setting with their recent launches in the Greater Vancouver market. I can tell you this is so great to see in the Fraser Valley. This project has a similar curved design as Concord Oasis, and Oasis emphasized smart home features and rich amenity programming.
I think what's missing is the retractable glass screen systems we've seen both Oasis and Concord Metrotown offer. Our unfounded belief is that this likely comes just down to cost right now, wanting to keep pricing competitive with other recent launches.
Absolutely.
Prices right now are starting from the high 400,000s, which is, to be honest, quite a high price for that marketplace in Surrey City Centre. Of course, that comes with also the name and the recognition and the build quality of a blue chip developer.
Yeah, and Piano's targeting an overall blend of $1,200 for price per square foot. So although that high 400 number may seem sharp, that is still quite a hefty number for Surrey City Centre. I wonder how long it'll be until we hit $1,500 for price per square foot in Surrey City Centre. That should be something we forecast today out for 5 years from now.
It'll be a good bet.
It'll be a good bet. Okay, Rye, so let's take a look at the resale market now.
Much like in Greater Vancouver, sales activity is moderating in the Valley. Now, compared to the record month last year, May sales activity this year was down over 50%. Now, we're much closer to historical levels than we have been in a long time during this recent run-up. Supply, meanwhile, it's nearly 3 times higher than the lows experienced in December of 2021. Those are big differences. The sales to listing ratio, which is a good indicator of the kind of market we are in, sits at about 22%, signaling that we remain in a very tight, strong seller market.
So taking a deeper look through, the sales to listing ratio for single family home has dipped just below 20%, the first time in recent memory. Now, the single family home typically leads the trend ahead of condo and townhouse product. We discussed that a little earlier. And this is a really good indicator of where the market is going to be headed in these coming months. Actually, it is headed. We're there. The cooling market has also meant that we've begun to see the first of some price softening in the Fraser Valley. Now, the HPI benchmark price dropped between 1 to 2.5%, depending on the product type, with single family leading the decline, and no surprise there. Now, as the Fraser Valley saw the greatest price appreciation run up of any market in the region, it is unsurprising that we now experience the first of moderations.
I think this is going to be really welcome relief for many buyers who are seeing just purchasing power snapped away by rising interest rates.
Absolutely. And I mean, this is something that I think those home buyers are welcoming, right? More inventory, more selection, more opportunity. Although, again, I think we are going to see a really traditional summer here, with the next 2 months feeling quite a bit softer than what we would traditionally see in the fall in terms of market and offerings.
All right, Britt, let's turn to a subject that I'm sure many of our viewers' minds are centered around, and this is with the Fraser Valley's recent record-breaking run-up. Where will the market go from here? Now, in particular, as it relates to other nearby markets it is competing with.
Yeah, we touched on this earlier in the episode, Rye. Like, considering the Fraser Valley home prices saw a 40 to 50% increase over the last 18 months, it really was only a matter of time before we saw that shift in momentum, right? As prices soared and inventory has been at an all-time low, buyers considered south of the Fraser, ultimately allowing this Fraser Valley market to reach price parity with Greater Vancouver. And this isn't just in one product type, this is across all product types. And as these market fundamentals shifted, we really started to see the relationship between markets change. And that change has happened very quickly over the last 60 days. I was chatting with one of my resale partners. I chat with our resale partners almost daily. And that trend that they're seeing out in the resale market is very similar to what the stats are showing up on a monthly basis.
And we expect this trend to continue as inventory levels in Greater Vancouver bounce back and as more and more workers gradually return to the offices. We do expect winners, however, though. Condominium product will continue to be the key entry for home buyers into the housing marketplace. So Albert, I believe that wraps up the June edition of the Fraser Valley Pre-sale Pulse. Now, if you found some value in today's episode, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel, our newswire, our daily email roundup of the latest real estate news. Subscribers get early access to Pre-sale Pulse, market insights, and the latest projects breaking ground. Now, Emily Advisory will continue to play a significant role in every major market across Canada. So if you're in search of a market perspective or you're just looking for a quick second opinion, Contact us today by visiting the links below.
And lastly, we want to hear from you. Leave a comment if you have any questions or you want us to speak about any trends or insights not mentioned in today's episode. We enjoy hearing from our peers, and we want to ensure that the PreSale Pulse is your preeminent source of real estate intelligence.
Yeah, well said, Britt. Thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next month.